Hi, this is Jason from Jason's Jungle. Today's the 1st of September. That means it's the first day of autumn. Now, I've been going through my seed box and we'll have a look at what we can plant in autumn. Don't worry, it's only the first day of autumn if you're going by the meteorological calendar. If you're going by the astronomical calendar, we've still got 3 weeks left of summer before we hit the equinox. Okay, let's have a look at my seed box. There's not much to plant this time of year, so it's a lot smaller than you'd have at different times earlier on in the year. But we'll start off with some of the things that I had in my last list. Can still be planted now. So we've got the radish that I have, the Candela de Fugo, long red ones. That can be planted up to, let me see, it says September, so that can still be planted this year. We've got the lamb's lettuce, we can still get that out in September to allow it to overwinter, so that can go out. Now that kale with a really catchy name of KX1, that can be done till the end of September, so I can still plant up some more of that. And then you had spring onion performer, outdoors till the end of September and then indoors for the rest of the year. So loads of time to do that. Additionally, there's other things I've got which I never mentioned before. So on greens wise, some salads and stuff, you've got Arctic King. You can sow this up to the end of October outdoors, or you can sow them in modules, and that should give you crop early next year. I've got here from Real Seeds some organic Morton's secret mix very mixed vegetables, very mixed lettuce, sorry. This is an incredible mix of lettuces from salad breeders Frank and Karen, seeds from all the latest breeding projects, a huge diversity of colour and shape, not yet available individually, so that sounds interesting, you know, as a mix there. Now this can be sown from spring to late autumn, late sowns under fleece or in a cold frame or in your greenhouse or polytunnel. So it's no hardening, yeah. Make a small spit sown fortnightly to avoid a glut. Non-hardened lettuces can be picked continuously. You know, so that's from Real Seeds, and that could be done. I like the idea of the fact that it's a diverse mix. Other things that can be done are mustard leaf, green and snow. This can be through spring through to autumn, starting the seeds in modules. You know, sweet herbal and cabbage with a hint of spiciness. Superb steamed like cabbage or used in stir fries. So it's supposed to stand well in cold winter weather. So that's one that I'll be starting up. And I have Rocket Dragon's Tongue. Yeah, it is so sown any time, protection needed from late autumn to early spring. So there might be another one for in the greenhouse or polytunnel or under a cold frame. Then we have a Mabuna. A lot of these packets are from Real Seeds because not from Real Seeds, from More Veg. I like More Veg because you can cheaply get a few seeds, which is enough for you, rather than buying a large packet like the fancy ones, which you never use. But anyway, Mabuna, lovely, light spicy flavour, Japanese green that will grow almost all year round, outside, so from April to October, or protection in March. You can plant in modules for transplanting. So there's another interesting one for greens. Spinach, giant winter spinach. Now I've got 2 different packets of this and they give a different end date, but this one says I can sow until September, the other one says I can sow up till October. So I could do either. I'll sow this one by September. If I need any more, I'll do the October one. Okay, so That's that one. Now I've got 3 little packets here of salad mix, baby leaf salad mix. These are from More Veg. You get enough in each one to do 2 regular flats, seed trays. And the 3 we have are bright and spicy mix. Add a splash of colour to your salads with a dash of piquant flavour. And then we have Colour Crunch Blend. Lots of colour and flavour from a small space featuring green stem, white stem, golden yellow and red leaf pak choi. And then we have Fully Leaf Mix. Enjoy a delicate froth of leaves with a fresh burst of flavour. So these are all meant to be sown into a flat basically any time of the year, in your greenhouse or on your windowsill. And they're mostly your brassicas by the looks of the seeds. So you can then combine them with your mixed lettuces. And grow your fresh greens when they get ready to eat. You know, you just snip them off with scissors. And if you manage to miss the growing tips, they'll come back. You can see it's allowed to 3 weeks in the summer and 5 weeks in late autumn to early spring for some of them. And harvest when they're about 10 centimetres or 4 inches tall. Some other plants that you can grow, cauliflower all the year round. This is sow outside until October. And then sow indoors from January to March, or outdoors from March onwards. Yeah, so you could do some of them. Wild garlic, ramazans. So these where you want them to grow. These love shade because they basically come out before any plants have grown and got their leaves, and they die back in summer. So they're great for shady areas and the hedges or that wet damp area at the bottom of the garden and nothing will grow in. And they're great fresh green in the hungry gap when they come up, and you've got wonderful leaves for soups, casseroles, roasts or salads. And then here's an interesting one, which I've had these seeds for a while, they probably won't germinate now, but marshmallow. Marshmallow, as I probably all know, is a good vegetable. You eat the leaves in salads, or as they get older you can cook them as a vegetable. It's a food crop for the painted lady butterfly, and there is something you can make out of the roots, but I can't remember what can you make out of marshmallow roots. No, can't think of it. Anyway, that's something that you can sow in autumn or in spring. But in autumn you can overwinter in the greenhouse or the cold frame, and then plant them out in spring. Now there's quite a few roots that you can start off over winter. The next one is a 3-for-1. This is caraway. Now everyone knows the liquid aniseed flavour of the seeds, but you can also use the root as a veg at the end of the first year. Of course, if you do that, you won't get seeds the next year because you've eaten it all. But you can use the leaves in salads, and then you can let it go through the second year and get the seeds. So 3 different possibilities there. Now, first time I've tried this, so I'll be interested to see what it comes like and what it tastes like. So that, sorry, can be sown in September and October, where it stands. The next thing I have, again something a little bit unusual, is turnip-rooted chervil. I've always found this to be an interesting thing that I wanted to try, so I'm giving that a go. Best sown in mid-autumn, as germination can be erratic slow, sown clumps. The seeds are cold germinated, so it will be spring before you see new shoots, but they need the cold to be able to start off. And the next one is licorice. You can start the seeds into individual pots in the greenhouse in autumn, or you can start them in spring. And grow on for their first winter in the greenhouse, plant out in late spring or early summer. And they're rather slow to grow from seeds apparently. But I might not do this because I'm having a problem with digging out the 3 foot to 4 foot roots of Muscosa on my ground. I mean, if I had, sandy ground and sandy soil, it may be easier to get out. But these can go up to 9 feet. Around Pontefract they would dig trenches basically out 9 feet and dig these out when they used to grow them there. So I'd never get these out of the ground. I might try a blue barrel or something like that, but I don't know if I'll sow them. I've bought them on a whim. And I think because of the processing of the root to get the Spanish juice to make your licorice with, it's going to be quite a palaver. Because if you've ever chewed on a licorice root, you know it's like chewing on a stick. But anyway, the next one again is just a fun thing to see you've done it. And this is a thing called pignut, also known as earth chestnut, which is not the same as the other pignut or earth chestnut that I've showed you already. That one produces a decent number of tubers. This will produce a tuber per plant, and it does it in the most flexing way when it comes to harvesting. You'll sow the seed, it'll send down its root, which can be a long root twisting around all over the place, and it'll sow one leaf. That's it, one leaf in the first year. And somewhere along that twisty winding root, could be at the top, could be at the bottom, could be halfway through, there will be a tuber develop. Now that tuber gets bigger every year, but it's only one tuber. And you've got to follow that twisty windy root to find it, otherwise you can lose it. But you could sow these into pots, let it sit the first year and then sieve it out to find those tubers, and then you can plant them out to get larger. Again, it's more of a curiosity plant rather than a long-term harvest. I don't think it would be useful to try and put this into your annual rotation plan or anything. So it's a fun crop, interesting crop to grow, but not a staple. Two other ones I've got are root crops. They both make long white roots. You've got parsley root. This one is called Berliner. Again, this is a fancy, so I've got tons of seed to do for this. And it says you can sow it from March through to September. So I'll be sowing this later on in the month, and it'll basically stay in there most of the year, and like most of my root veg will stay for quite a long time. Looks a bit like a parsnip. The next one is rampion, also known as Rapunzel. Yes, the one from the story. This is the veg that they nicked from the witch's garden. So they go and steal the food from an old woman, and they make her feel like the baddie. Terrible. Anyway, this can be sown through to October, and it's got a long white radish type root. You can use the leaves as you can with the parsnip, and I think you can with the tuberous chervil. But obviously you don't need all the leaves because you want the root to be able to develop. And again, you harvest these later on in the year. So that's the main roots done. Now the next one is legumes. Now yes, you can do raw beans. So October, November, you can pop these in your ground and they'll go through. This is Aqua Dulce Claudia. This is the one that's quite often grown over winter. You might want to start them off in pots because they tend to disappear to the mice. They give a slightly earlier crop, so you tend to miss the black fly than if you were to plant in spring. And the next thing is peas. Now you can get an early variety, cold variety, hardy variety that has round seeds, and you can overwinter a lot of some of them ones. But if you've got any pea seeds, excess pea seed, you can get them in big bags like this, got an excess of them, you can sow them into flats, into your seed trays, and then cut them off and use them in salads as a veg. So you can grow them in the greenhouse, you can grow them on your windowsill, and it just gives a nice fresh taste in the middle of winter. So that's the veg out of the way. The other things, well, slightly, got one slight thing to mention. The other thing is green manures. You could start sowing green manures now. You could put some in that would be, say, winter killed, so things like buckwheat would soak up nutrients and then winter kill, or you could crop it down, put it in your compost, or if you want to, you can dig it in. But if you put it in the compost, you know, your soil will be bare, so you can basically, if you planted it now, you'd have enough time to get a harvest of the winter, of the green manure, put that in your compost, and then plant out your beans. Yeah, so that's the next one is field beans. Now, as you can probably see, I originally planned to do quite a lot of green manure this year, and then I went and decided to plant everything up. But the field beans are like broad beans, you know, smaller version, and you can let them go on to maturity and produce pods and eat them just like beans. But another thing you can do is, like broad beans, you can nip off the tops. And Steve at Steve's Seaside Allotment says that if you do it when they're about so big, so that's probably about 6 inches to 8 inches, they'll actually send up new shoots. And if you keep doing that, you'll get more shoots coming through that you can then harvest. So I've always waited till they were basically almost fully grown before I'd done that. So that's a way that I wanted to try then this year, but I haven't got round to it. You know, basically if I've got everything else in the beds, I'll find some space for them. Other things you can do would be your mixes, which might have things like rye in, ryegrass, which puts on a lot of root matter. You can have mustards, and mustards can do a fumigation of the soil, kill off certain nematodes, but you've got to keep it in the crop rotation. You can have vetches and other legumes that are supposed to be able to help fix nitrogen, but during the winter months I don't know how active the bacteria is, but at least does soak up nitrogen from the soil and stop that leaching away. You can have things like daikon radishes and fodder radishes, which will send down a long taproot into the soil to break up hard pan, if you've got that. And of course, once these are all cut down, all the roots will die back in either organic matter. So that's that, but I've also been having a conversation about using green manures to take nutrients out of the soil rather than to put it in. So to take fertility out of an over-fertile bed. And I'll put that link to the video that's about underneath. But you know, that's basically everything I've got to sow. And I don't know if I've got the space to sow it, but I will try and find. Okay, if you found this interesting, useful, and I haven't bored you to tears, click on like, click on subscribe, share to your friends, make a poster and stick it outside your house, and you know, anything you want. But subscribe, and I hope to see you back on the next time. See you later.